What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Texans Better Talk Show. Look, I'm a little late to it. We have to talk about it. No one, at least no receiver, helped themselves more after this combine than Matthew Golden. Now, a month ago, I would have told you that if Matthew Golden was there at 25, I would be happy with the Texans picking him. Solid player. He's definitely shown some stuff on tape. Now, post combine, you've got a player he's not an Isaiah Bond, who I'm actually really low on and was low on before the combine, but he's not an Isaiah Bond archetype where he's really small, really fast. He's 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, and he's running a 4.3. Isaiah Bond ran like a 4.4, and he looks like a goofball after kind of saying he would break Xavier Worthy's record. So, yeah, you've got Matthew Golden, 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, running a 4.3, and he's not just an athletic speed guy. And that's why the consensus now is that Matthew Golden's going to be a top 15 pick. He arguably has some of the best ball skills in this class when it comes to just tracking the football and adjusting his body in midair. He can high point, he can over the shoulder, he can run, he can be a red zone threat, obviously. Just a really well rounded receiver. And I was pretty high on him before the combine. And I remember saying, I made a video on him on this channel, and I said it's going to be about, how fast is he? What is he going to test at? And he pretty much blew that out of the water. So now the overall consensus, I don't want to say overall consensus, but some of the language we're getting now is that he's going to be gone within the first 15 picks, a top 15 round pick. Now, I think that's a little rich, but again, because of the reasons I just laid out, I understand why some people would think that. And look, regardless, we can argue, we can sit here and debate on when he's going to go. I will say now, and the main point we can take away from this, and I think most people can, is that he's probably not going to be there at 25. We can argue if he gets past 10 or 15 or 20, but I think we can all kind of agree that he probably doesn't get to 25. So if you're the Texans, now you have to think, or if you're a fan of Matthew Golden, you have to ask yourself, well, would I be willing to trade up a couple of spots? And where I think the conversation gets the most interesting is, hey, Matthew Golden's sitting there at 20. You've got the Steelers and the Broncos, who are both kind of potentially looking at receivers in the draft. The question really is now, do I trade up? Do I trade up 5 spots to go grab Matthew Golden? I know a lot of people probably would be happy with that, especially if we have a lot of UT fans here. I don't think it's the worst move. I don't feel great about, giving up a future third round pick or whatever it would be. I don't even know if it would be that much, but it's all about price, right? I don't know if I'd love giving up a third round pick to go up 5 spots to pick Golden. But then again, it just depends on how much the Texans love him. So I kind of want to step away from the whole trade up scenario. We know Matthew Golden isn't going to be there at 25. Let's just start thinking about life without Matthew Golden. And I don't think it's all bleak, because what no one is really talking about is the fact that, and I'm getting a lot of this from Mel Kiper as well as just kind of, draft communities out there. So I know Mel Kiper is always right. That's a joke. But Mel Kiper believes that Luther Burden's draft stock is falling. And he didn't really give a clear answer on this, which is why I'm taking it with a grain of salt. But if Luther Burden's draft stock is falling and Matthew Golden's draft stock is rising this much, you've got people saying he's wide receiver 1 in this class. I think, again, that's a little rich. I'd like to pump the brakes a little bit on the Matthew Golden conversation, but like if you take him over Ted McMillan, be my guest, right? You're going to get fired in a couple years. Not that Matthew Golden's not a great player, but again, the 4.3, it's in everyone's heads right now. A little bit of recency bias, but anyway, back to my point. With Matthew Golden's stock rising, Luther Burden's stock falling, I think it's real that Luther Burden's there at 25, and this is a player who was probably above Matthew Golden in most boards maybe a month ago. This is a guy who himself wasn't really projected to be coming past 15. It's weird how him and Matthew Golden have traded places. I would argue that Luther Burden's stock has fallen even more, with people saying that they don't even know if he's a first round pick. Now that's really interesting to me. I think Luther Burden is for sure a first round pick, and I haven't heard any arguments for why he shouldn't be, besides that his production fell off, which I believe is because of the offensive play at Missouri. Not everyone believes that. A lot of people, still, they say that Missouri's quarterback play was good, far from bad. But I don't know. When I watch the tape, I see them going to going to Luther Burden in times of need. And I say all this to say that I think the conversation really needs to become, are we comfortable with taking Luther Burden at 25? And I think, yeah, I think I'd be fine with that. And then, of course, the other receiver we need to talk about now is Emeka Ibuka. Kind of the same conversation there with Golden rising, maybe pushing Ibuka down. I think Emeka Ibuka is a great pick at 25. I think he's got the highest floor between Golden and Burden, probably the lower ceiling of the two as well. But you sometimes you take a high floor over a higher ceiling. You want a guy who you know is going to play a role and be a solid wide receiver too right out of the gate, and that's what Ibuka is. Again, referring back to Mel Kiper and other draft analysts, they also say that Emeka Ibuka might be at the point where he's risen on the board because of his production. So there's that to think about. What are we going to do if Matthew Golden's not there, Emeka Ibuka's not there, and we decide between, even if Burden's not there, then who are you going to go for, right? So I do think the conversation between the wide receivers has gotten very interesting right now, as the combine always kind of does, always kind of shakes things up. Again, I kind of really want to push back on the whole Matthew Golden being wide receiver number one type of thing. I do agree with people and think that he's probably not there at 25. If he's there, you draft him. But I feel like with Luther Burden potentially falling, Emeka Ibuka potentially being there, I don't think it's a horrible spot to be in at 25 and kind of just see how the board falls. Because again, Luther Burden at 25, I wouldn't hate. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think about this new buzz that Matthew Golden's getting? Who do you think the Texans should select at 25? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more daily Texans content. I really appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next one, man. Peace out.